Hey Gemini, it's Empress Rose and welcome to your reading. These are general readings, so take what works, leave what doesn't. If you'd like a personal reading, you can contact me. My email is listed in the description. And all these cards are pre-shuffled and prayed over. So let's get going with the Oracle Mystical Moments deck for an intuitive vibe of where we want to go today. All right. Oh, cool. What's for Gemini today? Gemini this week. That's half the deck. All right, what's for Gemini this week? Sneaky little bastard. All right. Okay. We have new directions. I hate the name of this card. Anyway, you had a plan. You had a grand plan. Maybe involved a couple people. It was a really good idea. It was a very clear idea. But it's all blown to pieces. Something's happened in the world around you that has come through and blasted this plan to smithereens. Everybody else is panicking and SOSing, and you were like, fuck this. And so you grabbed yourself a little seed, and this whole situation, you're turning it into an opportunity. So this whole thing blowing apart here, see, here's the good idea, the little top hat. It was never built to last. It was never meant to last. And a blast of fate came through and blew it all apart, and you took a little piece of it and you were like, you know what? And this little thing you grabbed onto is a promising new start. So, you know, that's what a seed is a promise of new life. And you are a little bit at the mercy of the fates. But the thing is, you took the opening, you took the, you know, when things kind of fall apart, and there are all these new openings. And if you're very clever, like you apparently have been, Gemini, you grab that new opening and you grab an opportunity that you see in that new opening. So some people, you know, thrive really well when everybody's zigging, and some people are not doing well when everybody's zigging. And then they're like, I don't know, I'm like this. I don't know what you guys are doing or how you do that. I don't know how you do that. And then, you know, fate has a big zag here, and you're like, oh yeah, yeah, I got that. So that was a little bit of this situation. Is like fate changed, and suddenly the way your mind works was like, oh yes, this, I know this direction, I can do this direction. And so there's a promising new start there. And you've left behind this thing that's kind of blowing apart anyway. So, and then this is talking about not going anywhere. You want to go somewhere. Well, you've grabbed the seed and you want to go somewhere, and you're thinking about it. You've got a message here that you'd like to deliver. You've got an idea you're keeping more to yourself, and you have every intention of keeping that idea to yourself, but there's one you'd like to message. And you're actually not moving. So you've grabbed a new opportunity, but you're not moving forward on it. I think you're thinking about it. You're dreaming about it. And maybe you're just dreaming about blowing off this little top hat hot air balloon. Maybe you're just dreaming about that right now, and you're thinking about grabbing onto this little seed. Maybe this is happening right now. This thing is blowing apart, and you're dreaming about grabbing this seed. You could also be thinking about wanting to talk about something, wanting to go somewhere. You're really looking at your future, though, and you're not talking about it at all. But you're definitely thinking about it. And maybe you're worrying about it a little bit. You've got something you want to say and something you don't want to say. And you're just kind of biding your time, or I think you're a little worried. You might be a little worried about where the seed is going exactly and what you're going to do, because you just blew off what looked like an obviously good idea, but it's not. And you don't know quite what you're going to do next. You're pretty worried about it. You're at a standstill. All right, let's go to the Moonology deck. Still getting used to this deck a little bit. Working through it bit by bit, though, day by day. Really direct messages. What do we have for Gemini today? What do we have for Gemini today? Speak. Oh, I see. Yeah, you didn't want to talk about it. You don't want to talk about it. You're not ready to talk about it. That's exactly what's going on here. Okay, I think we got a little half jumper. I had to pull it out of you, didn't I? Your hard work is paying off. New moon in Capricorn. So this is something, this is an earth sign. This is a new beginning. Your hard work is going to pay off, is what I'm going to say. I think you're worried about your new future. You've taken some new steps. You're very worried about it. You're not really talking about it. But this is saying, yeah, this new thing you've grabbed onto, this new seed here, it's going to take work, but it's going to pay off. Okay, so this new direction that you're taking things in and you're going in, this sort of like dandelion parachute that you have leapt out of this balloon with, and that you're really worried about where this is all going. And this is saying that it's going to pan out. You got to just work hard. You're going to have to work hard. It's feeling like a real life thing, like a job thing or something like that, something like that. And it's saying that, yeah, you're at the beginning, and you're going to have to work really hard. Ooh, and at the beginning, one thing that has been really helpful for me when I start something, or go in a different direction or something like that, so to go in my new direction, is to think of a learning curve, and just how steep that is at the beginning. It's just like you start something and you're like, oh my gosh, I have no idea. And then at some point, you'll plateau. But it can be really steep at first. And it kind of is like, and then you kind of go, and then you kind of plateau. And then you either find a new thing or you level up from that thing. So this is a new beginning in something that possibly has to do with money, has to do with work, has to do with some sort of physical nature. It could be a house, could be a new place to live, something like that. And your hard work's gonna pay off. You're worried about it though, and I can see why, because it's not, you'll have something that looked really secure. So it could be relationships too, whatever comes to mind for you. Okay, we're gonna get to the Santa Muerte. We're gonna work and it's gonna pay off. We're gonna actually go play with the Santa Muerte deck and go, well, I don't know, play sounds disrespectful, but it's actually really important. And that's actually an interesting thing. Humans learn best by playing. So this hard work is paying off. Yeah, there's some pleasant, unpleasant things we have to do, or things that are difficult for sure. But bringing a spirit of play to everything we can bring a spirit of play to is the best way to learn and go forward. Okay, Santa Muerte, what do we have for Geminis this week? Okay, this is your past, this is your present, your inner landscape, what's at issue, the environment, to-do list, and possible outcome. Okay, you've got this new moon in Capricorn, but we've got a bunch of 10s here. Oh, I see. Wow, this is okay. In your recent past, you have this Page of Cups. You have this a lot of curiosity about emotions, about feelings, and you started off, or something in your past. This could easily be a person that is very curious about emotions and feelings, maybe psychology, psychological work, that kind of thing. This is sort of the she's sort of a chef, and she's looking to see if the soup is thick enough. Did it thicken up? Did our roux thicken up the soup enough? Or are we going to have to make some adaptations here? So she's very curious about her emotions, and it could be anybody, but we have the lock on the chest. So she's not she's not sharing her recipe. She's keeping it to herself, but she is very curious about emotions and these feelings that she's having. So, and then in your present situation, we have the Chariot. So we have a lot of quick moving energy here. And I think that's a little bit of what's blasted this to smithereens and has caused you to have to leap out of this and grab onto onto that thing, okay? So this Chariot energy, it feels like a time machine. It can feel like a time machine where you're just suddenly like moved forward. It's a protected journey. You do have someone who's a little jealous here in the background. It's a little bit of a bridal feel to me. You have these 3 bridesmaids here, you know, as you step up to the altar. So it's this committed journey, this commitment, but it goes really fast. So you have a lot of fast moving energy. And then here's your groom who's sort of like, come on in to my chariot here. We're gonna go fast. These can be, this is typically like a fast movement, maybe a journey, maybe a trip, maybe a quick trip somewhere. But it is fast moving energy. So very winning energy. You get what you want. There's like a treasure chest here, but what is that? It's a box of passion. So there's a passionate situation here. But you don't have to worry about someone being jealous. I mean, oftentimes when we have quick successes and quick journeys and we get that job really quick, we get the promotion really quick, people can be obviously very jealous. Jealousy is a really important emotion to pay attention to. It cues you into, you know, things that you deeply want that you may have suppressed. But this is saying that you don't need this jealous energy. You don't need that at all. I mean, it's not going to affect this journey. Your journey is protected. The protection is much larger than the jealousy. So quick moving energy going on right now around you. Probably this blasting apart thing. In your inner landscape, we have the 8 of Cups, which I'm getting a lot of this like worried vibe off of this one. She seems very worried to me today. And this is just a heaviness on your head, very deeply emotional heaviness. So there may have been an ending that you're mourning. There seems to be some grief here, some sadness. Your inner landscape is feeling very heavy, very emotional, very deeply emotional here. You're very deep in thought, and it's weighing on your mind. So you might be worried, you know, things happened really fast and now you're pretty worried here. Very heavy. Your heavy heart is weighing heavily on your mind. There's been some loss, perhaps. Okay, at issue is you have the Devil energy. So you have some sort of like obsessive situation going on here. So we take the Devil in this deck. The Devil upright is like inspiration and the things that are like, I don't know why I did that, but it turned out pretty cool. This is so the reversal of this is being controlled, being obsessed. There may be some alcoholism, some addiction of some sort. Just an obsession that is pretty destructive here. And what's funny here is I don't usually read the signs on my decks. It's just not something I'm interested in. But this is Capricorn energy right here, and we have this new moon in Capricorn. So we have this obsessive energy, and it's actually creating a block here. So, you know, inspired obsessive energy can sometimes be very like, it can move you forward really quickly. It can get this Chariot energy going on. It can move very quickly. You know, a little bit of obsession with anything you undertake is pretty, you know, at least a little bit needs to happen. And, you know, in order to get you to do stuff and get off of the couch, you got to be slightly obsessed. But this is like a really big obsession, an addiction issue. So you're dealing with an addiction, you know, it's a passion gone wrong. You know, you really liked those mixed drinks and now you have like way too many of them every day. So there's something blocking, actually it could be addiction to, I don't know, addiction to laziness or something like that. But it could be workaholism that's creating a negative atmosphere around your work. And we were talking about needing to have the spirit of play around our work. So it could be any kind of real obsessive, addictive energy. And what I find interesting is we all have that at different times. So this is a focus for you right now, and it's creating a blockage in your situation right now for you, you know? So in your environment, you have this Eight of Swords. You have a lot of sharp communication going on here, a lot of scary communication. This is like looking like, honestly, like an intervention, an alcoholic's intervention here. We have, like, maybe this is an immature dealing with emotions, because it's the page. It's you know, I'm reading it as childlike curiosity, but it could be an immaturity that quickly devolved into something else. You know, something seemed like a good idea at the time. It came apart, and you're dealing with some depression. So this, anyway, that might not be for everybody, but there might be a little bit of that vibe, like, because there's a lot of sharp communication going on around you. Look at these swords, and this mind is in a lot of pain. These swords are maybe some painful thoughts, some painful ideas. Maybe this really looks very confrontational, that people are confronting you with painful things, with their pain, perhaps, with the pain that you've caused them, or the environment is just very contentious and argumentative. But there's a lot of truth here too. It's very unvarnished truth, though. It's a little bit harsh. And I'm a big fan of not thinking of truth as necessarily harsh every time we say the word truth. It doesn't have to be harsh. A lot of truth is very beautiful and very, very lovely and very healing. This isn't looking healing to me. It's very stormy, argumentative, fighting, a lot of fighting, and it's feeling very confrontational. A lot of, you know, painful thoughts, painful ideas, painful sharing. There's a lot of painful sharing going on. You're pretty deep in your feels about this too, I think. But it's doing what painful sharing is meant to do, which is bringing into some closure here. We have a lot of cups, actually. So there's some deep emotional, I mean, we were getting that vibe off of this one. There's some deep emotional stuff with this new moon in Capricorn and this new situation you're looking at, or, I mean, I think this is really encouraging you, because we've got these 10 of Cups here, which I'll get to in a second, but I think this whole thing is encouraging you that you're closing out a chapter and you're going to start a new chapter, and it's going to take some hard work, but it will pay off. So obviously not every Gemini watching this is going to be having an addiction issue, but if that's you, this is saying, you know, that the work you're going to put into your sobriety, and it could be a lot of different issues, you know, I don't know what workaholics do, but, you know, their work sobriety is going to pay off. So the work that you've got to put in here to deal with this addiction issue and these really painful communications and this depression, it is going to pay off. You're closing out some chapters here. Your to-do list is to come into this 10 of Cups. Well, it really looks like, you know, this intense communication that you're holding back with to this moon and back, but it needs to happen, and it is happening. Maybe it's happening all around you, and you're trying to stay out of it. This is 10 of Cups right here. So this is a very fulfilling emotional situation. However, this is the fulfillment of the suit. So the situation has reached its fullness, but this is in your to-do list. So you're to bring in maximum love, I feel like, the maximum amount. So because it's the 10 of Cups, it's the most the situation will bear and can handle, and it is gonna close out. This is a complete fulfillment. There's a very loving village here that is full of love, and you're dealing with a lot of like heart space stuff and love. So your to-do list, I've never gotten this card in the to-do list here, but it is the end of a chapter, but it is like very fulfilling. There's so much love here, and you're to come into this energy, this village of love, and to experience this love that surrounds you. There's so much love that surrounds you. And this card wants you to enter that energy and to understand that. So even though this is super harsh, so I'm not saying that anyone that's being super mean and harsh, although to get through this issue, people may have to be a little hard on you, okay? It's so hard though, because sometimes people are mean and harsh, and they're just mean and harsh, and they're just tearing you down, and it's not building you up, and it's not for your best interests. But sometimes, especially if you've been really reticent to hear something and you haven't, acknowledged these truths or whatever for a long time, people have to get a little harder and harder and louder and louder. And so that communication can feel really harsh, but it can be coming from a place of love. Now, hopefully they're doing this skillfully, but even if not, there might be something you really need to hear in this. And this card is here to remind you that you are in a situation of love. Like, there are people that love you, and you need to pull in that energy and understand that you are embedded in this community of love. And is it a perfect community? Absolutely not. I can guarantee you it is not a perfect community, but there's so much love here. And I think you're being asked to acknowledge that and to know that and to trust that you are loved. So if this is an environment situation in which things have fallen apart. So it could go two ways. And I think it's going to be really hard. It could be really hard to figure it out. Like, are you are loved for sure. Is it necessarily the people that are doing this? I think probably so. And maybe you're having to communicate harshly a little bit, more harshly than you'd like to, out of love for someone. But you're being asked to come into this energy of full, complete love, knowing that you are loved and being filled with love. It's never a bad idea, honestly. So I'm just, there are some possibilities here that either the situation you're dealing with is, horrible and a little maybe abusive or something like that, verbally abusive, and you need to know that you are loved and you are lovable, and you shouldn't be putting up with that. The other thing is, because we have this devil addiction card, you could be needing this moment of truth, and it might feel really harsh, but you might need to understand that people are telling you this stuff out of love because they love you and they want to have good relationships with you, and they would like to see you in a healthy spot. Okay. So a possible outcome is this Ten of Swords. I love this, especially with this one coming up here. It's this Ten of Swords. These are a way that you view something, a way that you see something that's being transformed. These painful thoughts, painful words, everything, this pain is being put down. This Ten of Swords, this is the end of a painful cycle. The betrayals are over. The pain is going to be coming to an end. This is such a beautiful card. And it's pain that's been caused by thoughts that you may have had. You may need to re-examine where some of these thoughts came from, what their truth is. Are these true thoughts? But this whole painful situation, I mean, clearly you've been in a lot of pain, is going to be coming to an end. And it's reaching its maximum. So you will soon be at the maximum amount of pain that this situation will be dishing. But and that's exciting, right? Because maximum means there's no more. There's no more after that, right? And then we're going to be starting a new cycle after that. So this is you're coming to the end of a super painful cycle, and you need to know that you are loved. There may be some painful confrontations, but you really need to look at the possibility that they might be true, and they might be something that you need to see, or that you're communicating. No, it's in your environment. So, and then you're dealing with this addiction issue, which is linked to some level of depression. Okay, so Gemini, I hope that that's helpful for you, and I hope you end up having a really wonderful week and know that you are loved, you are lovable, you are completely loved. Actually, I think just every tarot reading should end like that. So, and I love you too, Gemini. Have a great week.